Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about going to the toilet when you're carrying a gun. Okay, the general rule is that the gun is always going to be on your body or in a safe. Okay, um, the only exception to that for me is if I'm going into a government building where I have to leave it in my car, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But first, let's just talk about going to the bathroom. And this is the same whether I'm going to the bathroom outside in public, right, a public bathroom, or if I'm going to the bathroom in my own home. And the reason for that is because I got kids in my house, okay? So I cannot take a chance that I'm going to take my gun off, right, to use the bathroom, leave it on some type of a surface, right, either the tank of the toilet or on the sink somewhere. There's too much of a chance that I might forget it. And you might say, hey, you got a good memory, you never forget stuff, but you don't know what's going to happen. Like, you might hear a car accident outside, or your wife might start screaming that, hey, one of the kids fell off the top of the china closet, right? So you don't know what type of emergency situation you're going to have that's going to distract you, and you're going to forget to take your gun. Okay, so that's the same whether it's out in public using, let's say, a bathroom in a restaurant, or if you're in your own home, if you have kids in your house, and even if you don't have kids in your house, what happens is if you do it in your house, all right, let's say you're the only one living in your house, or it's just you and your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, and that's not an issue. But if you do it in your house, you're gonna develop the habit that you're also gonna do it when you go outside to a public bathroom. So I believe in consistency. I like doing things the same way all the time, so I just had that muscle memory. So when I go to use the toilet, right? Let me open up my jacket, and I promise not to pull down my pants all the way for you guys. I promise not to do that. I don't have to do that to demonstrate. So what I will typically do is I will undo my belt, okay, and then what I do is I pull my belt through, okay. I take off the gun. It stays in the holster because remember the gun's loaded. It's got a round in the chamber. Gun stays in the holster. This is the M&P Shield, the Shield 9. And what I do is I take this and I put it in my pocket. Okay? Right? So one of the important things that you got, your holster has to be such that when, it's not going to fall out. The holster has to have good enough retention so that when you hold the gun upside down, it doesn't flop out. If the holster doesn't do that, it's not a good holster. You need to get one that has retention so it doesn't, so the gun stays in the holster. And that's important because the holster is the safety mechanism. This gun doesn't have any safeties on that. The safety mechanism of this gun is the holster. It protects the trigger guard so that no matter what, I can't accidentally activate that trigger. So I will take the gun out. I will stick it in my pocket like this, okay? Then I can pull my pants down, do my business. And then when I'm done, pull my pants up. And the way this holster is set up, it's got a clip over here. So here's the thing, I can, once I put my belt on, I can insert it, but in order for me to remove it, I have to undo my belt because of the way it's angled, right? So you can see how the clip is kind of angled up a little bit like that. Oh, let me get my hand out of the way. See how that clip is angled up a little bit? So it goes in, but doesn't come out easy. And that's fine because when you draw the gun out of the holster, you don't want the whole holster coming up. So after I'm done, I'll put my belt on. Let's do that. Right? Put my belt up, buckle it, and then I don't tighten it immediately. Take the gun out, and as you notice, it doesn't, as I pull it up, it doesn't just come out of the holster. That's important. If you're pulling your holster, the gun out of your pocket, and the holster is staying in your pocket, you need a little bit more retention on your gun. So I'll get this in its place. Right, then I'll tighten my belt up. All right, and that's it. I'm done. So, and then, with the way it is, if I ever do need to go to the gun, you can see how it comes out of the holster, goes back in. So the holster has enough retention to hold the gun in its place, but then, with a little bit more pressure, it will release it, okay? So gun choice is really important here. I've selected a gun, right, the M&P Shield, that's small enough to fit in my pocket. I've also selected a holster that is small enough to fit in my pocket. Like, I'm not using a paddle holster, right? You see how there's a paddle holster? all right, because it's a little bit bigger. Now there's a place for paddle holsters too, because they can be a little easier to get in. So this might be a good choice if, let's say, you normally don't carry around with you every day, but you have your gun loaded at home in your safe, let's say, and this can be a little easier to slip on if you ever need to. Okay, so there's a place for this, but I don't carry a gun that with a paddle holster where the holster is that big, because open this up again. This is not going to fit into my pocket as easy. I mean, even without the gun, you can see the difficulty I'm having. Basically it's going to have to sit like that, which might be an option, but I don't like this because, first of all, if you're in an open stall, right, where you can see out the bottom, I pull my pants down, now you can see you can see the gun over there, and I don't want people to be able to see the gun when I got my pants down. Okay, so that's why I don't like this. I like a gun and a holster that will fit completely into my pocket. Now, let's say you're in a situation where you, for whatever reason, you feel that you need to carry a slightly larger gun, like a Glock 19. That probably is not going to fit in your pants pocket. You may have to drop it basically, inside your pants, and lower your pants that way. So that's an option. Now, if you're in a bathroom that doesn't have an open stall at the bottom where people can see in, one of the options, right? Because here's the thing with this, and this is not something I do, but this is something that it does work for some people. If you notice that when I undo my belt over here, the gun is right here, right? So if I leave my belt clipped on at this point over here, right, and I pull my pants down, usually the gun will the holster of the gun is gonna kind of flop out. But if I take my belt and I run it backwards, right, so instead of coming in from this side and coming around to this side, if I reverse it so that instead of coming in from this side and coming out that side, it comes in from this side and comes out that side. So that, the equivalent would be as if I was carrying the gun on my left side, right? So if I had this clipped on my left side over here, right, then you can kind of pull your pants down. When you pull your pants down, you can kind of just buckle, buckle your belt a little bit, and that will kind of hold the, if you just button the belt a little bit after you pull your pants down, because it's now also on your left side, there's less of a chance that it will flop out. I don't like doing it that way because, again, sometimes you might be in an open stall where people can see the bottom of your legs. So I like consistency. I like carrying a gun that's small enough to fit in my pocket if I need to use the restroom. But I do understand that sometimes, whatever people's situations, they need to carry a bigger gun, more capacity, whatever. Most likely you're going to have to take the gun off your belt, drop it in between your pants. But the important point is that it stays on your person, right? So it can be in between your pants. It just can't be on some surface. It can't be on the toilet, can't be on the sink. It's got to stay in your pants. So there's absolutely no chance that you're going to forget it. When you go to pull your pants up, obviously, you're not going to forget to take the gun and put it where it belongs. And that's really important. That's really the biggest risk. Many years ago, I think back in the 90s, I saw a situation where a police officer forgot his gun in the bathroom. It wasn't a big deal, all right? The gun and its owner were quickly reunited. But that was back in the 90s. In this day and age, he probably would lose his job. Okay, so as far as you guys, if you guys forget your gun in the public bathroom, you're probably going to get in some trouble, right? If you leave most likely there's a good chance you're going to lose your carry permit. They're going to say that you're not careful, you're negligent, whatever. But there's a good chance you're going to lose your carry permit if you forget your gun in a public bathroom. So that's why you got to set it up in such a way that it's impossible for you to forget. You got to keep it on your body, either on your body or in the safe. That's my general rule. No in between. It stays in the holster. You never remove the gun from the holster because now you've removed the safety mechanism. The one exception to that rule is if I have to go into a government building where I'm not allowed to bring the gun into a government building. What I will do is I will basically take the gun. I will take the gun with the holster off, hide it in my car, I do not remove it from its holster, so it remains loaded in the holster. I hide it in the car, lock the car up. The reason why I don't unload it is, first of all, in my state, I'm not required to do so. There might be some states out there that don't allow you to have a loaded gun unattended in the car. I don't know, but in my state, it's it's okay for me to leave it in the car like that. The reason why I don't want to fumble, with unloading it is because once you take it out of the holster, you've removed the safety mechanism. Okay, so there's more of a chance that you're going to have an accident once the gun comes out of the holster, and especially if you're in an area or in a situation out in the public where you're more concerned with who's looking at you, and now all of a sudden you're not looking at your hands, you're not doing something that you normally do. So removing the gun out of your holster and trying to unload it at a place where you normally don't do it, in the way that you normally don't do it, increases the chance that you're going to have an accident. So that's why the gun stays in the holster. It doesn't come out. I just hide it in my car, without having to remove it from the holster. And then when I get back, I just take it, clip it on my belt, and I'm good to go. So I hope this video is useful to you guys. If you're not a member, subscribe. Talk to you guys soon.